Where's Anton?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
It's fine.
Maybe I am giving this talk.
So we can start?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can you see it?
Yep.
Did we start the recording?
I did.
Okay. So I'm colorblind, so my slides will be like black and white. Okay. So this talk is about DeFi primitives and about composability of DeFi and how everything works. So I did some work by extracting primitives from existing DeFi projects. And for now, I found three main categories of them. First one is tokenization. Second one is exchanges. And third one is lending. There are a few ones which are out of these three types, like insurance, but they are not really composable too much to include them into like primitives which are composable. So tokenization primitives, for example, this stablecoins, like portfolios which are also tokenized, and when multiple people own portfolio, they own like subtokens of this portfolio. Also derivatives, this is like having like options or futures on some tokens, but they're still tokenized and you can trade them. Also, payment streams is one of primitive which is not currently implemented in like a final stage, but some teams are working on this. They are producing some wrapper tokens, which also includes like continuous payments inside. So we can, for example, wrap our DAI token into like payment DAI, and then set up a streams between people where someone wanna pay like 10 DAI per week or like this, and balances will be like computable, and they will work like with formulas. So whenever you will check your balance, it will just add everything that should be added since your last transaction, and subtract everything that should be extracted since your last transaction. So exchanges are usually, I see three types. This is order book based exchanges where supply meets demand, and yeah, you can discover different orders of different prices, and when you see orders you wish to fill, you can fill them. And also liquidity automated market makers. This is smart contracts which are usually driven by some formula, and they can establish like a reliable price that anyone will trade with this smart contract. So smart contract will be like a limit order, but not fixed price. It price usually changes, and it depends on the volume. So, and it works usually automatic, but sometimes they use also oracles, but this is not necessary. And aggregators. This is a new kind of exchanges which tries to aggregate all the different liquidity. So the more you swap on single DEX, the worse will be the rate. So if you could imagine all these DEXs would be unified into single huge DEX, you can get a better rate. So the reason aggregators appeared is that liquidity on DEXs is really too fragmented, and aggregators are solving this problem. And lending primitive, I found
One.
3 use. What? Okay. Someone forgot to turn off mic. Okay. So lending, I see 3 different applications of lending. And first one is borrowing, when you really need to borrow something. This could happen, for example, if you have like Ether and don't want to sell it because you think that price is too low, you can put this Ether into lending platform, then borrow some DAI and extract it into your bank account, waste it, spend it, and whenever you will decide that Ether price is high enough, you will be able to return your debt and extract your collateral Ether. Also, leverage application is also based on lending. And one interesting thing also is lottery. I know single lottery on lending protocols, but maybe other will appear. So in this presentation, I'm going to cover 2 topics, tokenization and lending. And I'm not gonna say about exchanges, because about exchanges I have a separate presentation. It's also quite big. Okay, so let's start from stable tokens. So I listed some of them. Some of them works in a centralized manner. Some of them are decentralized, and some of them are aggregators. Here I showed how centralized stablecoins works. Some custodian holder locks, for example, USD on its bank account, and he's an owner and administrator of stable token, and he can mint when someone brings him money, and when someone want to extract money, he can burn these tokens and do transfer from his bank account. Some of these custodian providers, they do have like audits that they have all the money they're talking about. All the tokens they issued are baked. Some of them don't have audits, so it's something like this. Also, there are some stable tokens which are like decentralized. They work in different manner. So, for example, DAI is decentralized stable token to USD, and simply how it works. There is some system of smart contracts which works same way to have a stabilize the price of this token, and anyone can issue this DAI. You can print this DAI by putting some collateral in different asset. For example, MakerDAO DAI supports 2 collaterals for now, or even 3. It's Ether, USDC, and BET. So you can put 200K bucks of Ether and print, for example, 100K of DAI. So it sounds like a decentralized lending protocol, yes, and it behaves the same. And if your collateral will drop in price, your position could be liquidated. So your position is usually called that you have some collateral and some debt, and collateral is somehow locked in the system. Yeah, and even sometimes collateral could be on different blockchain. there are a few projects who are trying to achieve this, and they compete for the best implementation, for best idea of how to implement this. They have, like, for example, Bitcoin collateral, and they issue Bitcoin token on Ethereum blockchain. Yeah, and also want to mention one interesting project that have a lot of different stable tokens. It is a Synthetics project. They even have Ether token, which called SETH, which is stable token to Ether. And of course, they have like SUSD, SEOR, and many other. Okay, so the next is portfolios. So there is a classification of portfolios. If you put multiple tokens into smart contracts, they can behave differently. Like, there are instant rebalancing portfolios which tries to keep your portfolio always in sync. It's always balanced in some special proportions. So you can have, like, for example, the basic example is Uniswap. You can have half of your deposit in Ether and half of your deposit in any other token. And when price changes, it will automatically rebalance by creating opportunity for arbitrageurs to swap on it, to sell token which became which price changed, or buy this token. And arbitrageurs see opportunity, they trade to profit, and they rebalance your portfolio. So the oldest one of these projects is Banker. The next one was Uniswap, then Curve, and the latest one is Balancer. So yeah, and there is also projects where rebalancing strategy or swap strategy is quite difficult to understand. Not really understand. It is not like common strategy. They have different configurable strategies. You can configure your own. This is projects token sets, Melon. Yeah. So I have slide about instant rebalancing portfolios. I have similar slide in my DEX presentation, because instant rebalancing portfolios are usually work as DEXs on their own. They are like automatic market makers. And yeah, you can look at them like on portfolio tokens, which somehow manages your portfolio. And you can look at them like on DEXs, because they allows people to swap any asset to any with some internal formulas. So here we can see that Uniswap, for example, have smart contracts where every smart contract is a pair of any token and Ether, and they are like always balanced. So Balancer is like multi-token Uniswap with different proportions. Banker is like is similar to Uniswap but appeared earlier, and they have like different formulas to have different proportions. And also they even started to have multiple tokens in single pool. And Curve is a recent project which appears like a few weeks ago, maybe 1 month ago or 2 months ago. It works on different formula which allows to swap stable coins between each other for better rate than Uniswap and other projects. And yeah, it is still like rebalancing and creating opportunities for arbitrageurs. Yeah, so this is how your position should look like in complex rebalancing projects. So proportions could be changed. Some internal rules could be based on some chart primitives like RSI, SMA, and other. So these smart contracts could analyze price, how it changed, and decide if they wanna sell some token or buy some token, and then they could create some kind of auction to allow arbitrageurs to do all these swaps, because they usually do not allow to swap like immediately, because they're trying to keep it decentralized. So even those one who some of these tokens also have managers or admins who can change these proportions, and they should not affect on user funds. And yeah, so the next big chapter is lending. So I see here 3 different types, as I said: borrowing, leverage, and lottery. And how usually lending behaves. There are some order book based lending protocols, but I don't include them since they're not quite useful, because if you have always different options for lendings and borrowings based on orders, you can't like make this liquidity fungible among all the users. But decentralized lending protocols, which are pool based, like Compound, Fulcrum, Aave, and DForce, and maybe some others, they works all in the similar manner, and they have like wrapper tokens. So if you wanna put your DAI into these protocols, you can convert this DAI into C DAI without any slippage for some fixed price, which is actual for this smart contract right now. And yeah, you can put wrap your tokens into, for example, for Compound, it's C DAI, for Aave, it's A DAI. So you can wrap your DAI into C DAI, and you will start earning immediately, because those people who put tokens, wrap their tokens, they are providing liquidity for those who want to borrow. So those who borrow pays to those who provided this liquidity. And the cool thing is how these payments occur. They are not like happens in some moments. This is when you, for example, borrow. For example, you can put $100 of Ether into collateral, and you will get some amount of C Ether, which is like equivalent to your Ether and growing. And you can borrow some DAIs from C DAI pool, and you will be able to borrow less than you compounded, less than you collateralized. So sure, you can borrow more than $1,000 if you have $1,000 collateral. But when you get some amount of DAI, for example, you borrowed 100 of DAI, the amount you should return is continuously growing based on yearly APR. And yearly APR is dependent on how many funds inside this pool are provided, and how many funds of this provided liquidity is already borrowed. The more borrowed, the higher will be interest rate. The more people will try to put liquidity to earn this high APR. The less borrowed, the less will be APR, and the more people will try to borrow because APR is really low, like few persons. Yeah, so your debt is always increasing, and you can never pay it out, but you will not be able also extract your collateral, and your collateral should be always higher than your debt. If your debt will reach like 90% of collateral, you will be liquidated, so your collateral will be swapped onto DAI and returned to the pool, and you will have nothing. Yeah, so that's how works borrowing. You have some funds, you can put it into collateral, you can get some debt, and you will get these tokens from debt on your hands. So if you put Ether, you will have tokenized Ether as collateral, C Ether, and you will have also borrowed DAI on your hands, and you will not be able to move this C Ether from your wallet, because every time you try to move collateral, it checks if you have debt, and you will not be able to move your collateral out of your wallet. Maybe you will be able to move some part of your collateral. Yeah. So that's how it works. And one more interesting idea is based on these lending protocols is leverage. How we can create like a leveraged position. It is that if we, for example, have $1,000 K of, for example, Ether, and we wanna create long on Ether to DAI, we can turn our position, our 1,000 K of bucks, we can turn it to 3,000 K of bucks of Ether of collateral and 2,000 of K of DAI debt. So difference of your collateral and your debt is your funds. If we will compare with the previous image, you will see that you have some borrowed amount on your hands. And the reason you open this position is that you need these assets. But when you are creating leverage, you don't need some assets on hands. You need to have a lot of Ether, for example, collateralized, compounded, collateralized, okay. And if price of Ether will grow for 5%, you will earn 15% because this Ether is yours. But if price will drop 5%, you will lose 15%. So leverage, this is 3x leverage showed on the picture, and it increases your opportunities and also your losses. Yeah, so some people use leverage when they are very sure what will happen to price. They can like create long on Ether to DAI, or they can long DAI to Ether. This will be like shorting Ether to DAI. It's the same. Yeah, and lending protocols works for this. So how you can like create this position? You can put your assets into collateral, get some debt, then convert this debt into Ether again and put it as collateral, then extract, get more debt and convert it again. You can repeat this, or you can even achieve the same with some tools like we built on Hackathon, 1xAG. It allows you to do with the same with the single short transaction with single conversion inside it. It works with flash loans. You could imagine if you have 1,000, we can have flash loan for 2 additional thousand of DAI, converted to of Ether, put it as collateral, get some debt, get borrowing, then swap this borrowing to Ether and return flash loan. So the same could be achieved like with flash borrowed funds. So this needs just one iteration in this case. Yeah, and next thing is lottery based on lending. Since your collateralized assets are growing always, so price of C Ether to Ether is always growing. Price of C DAI to DAI is always growing. So if you, for example, borrowed something, your debt is growing continuously. And if you collateralized something, converted your DAI into C DAI, you also earning on this, because those people who borrowed DAI pays APR to those who put this liquidity, collateralized their DAI. So lottery is the thing that where funds of users are stored in compound, and all the percents of overall users is like a prize for a random person. So I don't really know the numbers, but it looks like you can win like few $100 in a week, or maybe $1,000 in a week. You should check. It's a pull together project. Yeah. So it seems my presentation is completed. So if you have any questions, welcome.
Yeah, so I have one question about your opinion on stablecoins being locked collateral, something like an actual dollar or a foreign currency in a bank, as was on your presentation, versus something that we've seen, which is more of a native stable currency, something, you know, with a reverse Dutch auction on a, you know, inflationary, deflationary currency to provide stability to, you know, some stable, maybe, you know, a little more, maybe circle-ish, you know. What's your opinion on that?
As I see, the centralized stable tokens, they work better. I mean, their price is usually close to original, but most of the stable tokens, which are centralized, also have some cons. You know, you should check each of these tokens if they have like blacklisting functionality, because those people who bring these assets into blockchain and those who are gonna extract it from blockchain interacting with this bank account, this is one category of users. But another category of users who will just use this token and will never interact with this bank account and will never have this in mind. They will just use this token in blockchain and benefit from having stable token. They could achieve this with different DeFi instruments. I mean, if people, if someone cares about its assets, like if he have huge enough to become like a target for some KYC, IML, or any other procedures, he should possibly check if token source code have like blacklisting, because I heard of it like a few weeks ago. Someone stablecoins were blacklisted, and someone is not able to move his funds to different wallet just because stable token centralized administrator locked his wallet. We can't know when this could happen or not, but if stable token, for example, don't have blacklisting functionality, this is safer for the users. And I really like the stable tokens which are decentralized, like MakerDAO or any other. It seems like a good idea to have this, and I also like that we have everything. I mean, we have to choose, so you can use one or another. So recently DAI price pumped a lot because everyone tried to buy DAI to liquidate some positions, and price is not yet returned to $1. It's 1% higher now. So it's quite difficult to say which is better. So it depends. Sometimes you would like to use decentralized stable token, but its price will not be stable, and you will not like to buy it. For example, I would not suggest you to buy DAI when it's priced 3% higher than $1, because it can be stabilized and you will just lose 3%.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Thanks. By the way, you have a couple questions in chat. I don't want to miss this. If you want to press chat.
And why Greece value?
Sorry.
But I feel like Greece still knows either as much.
Unmute.
It's a Zoom call, Bomber.
Uh,
You need to mute them.
Quick question.
My background image works very fine for this case. Yeah.
Anton, can you remove the daddy because he's just
I'm not administrator.
Dustin is the host.
Dustin. Yeah.
Dustin?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I just am trying to find him.
Thank you.
Okay.
Quick question, Anton. I was wondering about what do you think about the future of DEXs and how they will involve with like sharded systems coming live right now?
So when I had talks about future of DEXs with some investors, for example, some of them see that fragmentation of DEXs will grow. Some of them think that some leading DEXs will just become more popular and most of the liquidity will be concentrated on them. But as far as I see that new automated market makers appears, like Curve happened like a few weeks ago, it seems like it's a cool idea because before blockchain, no one had like fully autonomous trading system, which is like providing liquidity for everyone. So I believe that fragmentation will grow, and we will see the more cool projects like pools and like different DEXs, and so because they fit for different needs. For example, Curve is works better than any other for stable tokens, and it's like separate kind. Maybe we will see more separate kind of pools. Yeah, but also you asked about sharding. I believe we will move to sharded systems in like a few years. So it will take maybe 1 or 2 years to have like stable sharded systems, which will be capable to handle users and have enough projects. And yeah, I see that non-sharded systems could not grow for real users capacity. So for now we see when Ethereum gas price explode on few 100,000 users simultaneously trying to sell their shitcoins. And yeah, I believe that sharding is matter for wide adoption, and we will see that some tokens will have bridges to new blockchains, and then some projects will be just copied. And I believe we will see new kind of DEXs, which will be like sharded DEXs, and will actually benefit from sharding. Because if we will put like Curve smart contract or Uniswap smart contract into sharded system, you will not actually benefit from sharding, because transaction capacity of this smart contract will be strictly limited to single shard. It's like still being in Ethereum mainnet, which is like boosted by using WASM maybe. It sounds like it could have hundreds transactions per second, but it's not enough for example, if you will just put DAI smart contract to sharded blockchain, having few hundred transactions per second is not enough. Sure. So we will see new smart contracts which will benefit from sharding ecosystems, like sharded smart contract architecture.
There are some questions in the chat.
Okay, I see chat. Okay. So question from Max. So if my debt exceeds the collateral gets liquidated. How is this implemented on the technical level? Does collateral just become unlockable, or it is actually getting liquidated? If later it's liquidated next time I touch the contract. No, system could not track who should be liquidated at this exact moment. So some any other user could track this and tell system when someone need to be liquidated. System will check if it's true. This means since your Ether collateral, for example, and you have DAI debt and you have Ether collateral, since your actual Ether is locked into C Ether, you have C Ether on balance, and it this means that you have some Ether locked in this C-Ether smart contract. This means that they can just change your balance of C-Ether, get this Ether, swap it to DAI, and return this DAI to the pool, and also pay some person to those person who provided this information in time, and also put some other part into like insurance fund for possible negative liquidations, because it's also possible when price moves really fast, your liquidation could be like negative, your debt amount could be higher than collateral amount, and we can use like insurance debt, put extra extra fees into it, and then extract when we need it. Are there any tools to detect cycles of debt that have been collateralized? Cycles. I'm not sure what you mean, because you can always have like several collaterals and several debts. No one really remembers when you put your collateral, get debt, convert it to collateral asset and put it as collateral again. No one remembers this. System only remembers your debt, total debt in each asset, and total collateral in each data in each asset is just your balance of C-Ether, C-DAI, and yeah, we also can have like debt assets, which like tokenization of the debt. No one did it before for some reason, but it's quite simple. You should just deny transfer of this token to anyone, because transferring debt to random person is not good idea. But having transfer from it should be allowed. You can grab someone's debt if you have enough collateral to like cover it, and we can like have reverse ERC20 for this to allow people to transfer debt if they have approves, and transfer from to self without approves. What are the major security and structural problems in DeFi? Maybe this is a problem that some smart contracts could have some problems with logic, or have some bugs, and some funds could be stolen. And the problem is not in single project, but since all these projects are involved in whole the DeFi and utilize each other, this could be a problem for several projects. But bug in one project and losing funds or locking funds could produce a lot of projects to many other systems. So that's why matter to have like security audits. What other decentralized stablecoins without blacklist function you know? Actually, we have just to check source code of few ones. This would take up to 10 minutes to check 5 stable coins, I believe. I don't really remember which have, and don't wanna tell you incorrect information for now. Okay. Other questions? I'm a noob. What is the way to break into this field? Not really understand what you mean break into. Are you going to use it? Are you going to develop it for DeFi or any other? I believe you could. Huh?
Yeah, Anton, I think you skipped the question. Like, do you know any other decentralized stablecoins without blacklisting?
No. I just answered that I don't really remember.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
It's decentralized. Okay, I heard it was centralized. Decentralized. For now, I can remember like decentralized stable tokens like DAI, like Synthetics, like Synthetics platform have stablecoin to USD. It's SUSD, and I don't really remember much of them. Yeah, but we can find them. So, and about also breaking into, you can start with website like DeFi Prime. it have enough information to read and to know about different projects. Okay. Is it possible to get a record of this webinar? I believe we are making recording to share it later. DeFiPrime.com. Okay. It have some categorized listing of DeFi projects. I did my own categorization based on like primitives, internal primitives, because for me, borrowing and leverage is just the same. What do you think are currently missing in DeFi space, projects, ideas? I believe that we will see a lot of new DeFi projects which never existed before, and maybe we will see this in these categories, or they will introduce any own. And I see some of the projects could benefit by joining two different ideas. Like if you try to join like payment streams with leverage, maybe you could achieve something. You should think of it first and decide maybe this will you can get new DeFi service which will be interesting to users, maybe not.
Quick question.
So if you combine stablecoins with leverage, we recently discussed this opportunity to create leverage. Like if DAI price pumped by 3%, you could just short it to USDC with some leverage like 5x, and you could earn 15% when DAI price will be stabilized.
Anton, maybe you can share a little bit from your 1inch experience and overall entrepreneurship journey, and if some people want to start projects in DeFi space but don't know where to start or how to find co-founder or anything else, maybe you can share a little bit about your personal journey and learnings.
I personally think that project could not appear like to become a working project in DeFi without having an idea and having in mind how it should exactly work. Because if you have just few ideas that you're trying to achieve something strange, I actually saw this few times. I saw few white papers of few people who sent me these white papers and asked it to read it. Sasha, we still can see you. Okay. So I was in a situation when someone sent me white paper, and I'm trying to read it, and I can't even understand what happens. Why I can see such buzzwords like some pools, leverage, lending, something else. I can get the main idea and asking it, how are you gonna achieve this? What is the core idea? You mentioned a lot of buzzwords, but they all makes no sense with each other. It's like dark pool with leverage, something else. I don't even know what is dark pool. How it should work. I asked him, and he don't know. He told me maybe you can develop it. I just wrote a white paper, and I think this whole idea. I also got some responses from few other projects that they like the idea, but I can't get the idea until you have like technical detail how exactly it should solve some problems, because you always see some problems which stops you from doing this, and you should know exact solution for these problems. Else you can't run a project, or you can just even get funds from someone, find co-founder, find team, and start building something. I'm not sure you will be able to build it.
And what's the plan for 1inch also going forward?
Fund? Can you repeat?
What's the plan for 1inch overall going forward for the rest of this year?
For 1inch, we have a couple projects in mind. We're working on them internally, and yeah, we're gonna release as much features and projects as we could, because there is so small amount of projects implemented in DeFi, and we see like opportunities, and we started with hackathons on the previous year, and on each hackathon we tried to deliver like a fully working MVP of something. It's like the app with some smart contracts and front end, and I believe that most of the projects which we build are working now. No one uses them because they're not like popular, but they should work. If I'll open the browser, I will find them working, and this makes sense for me. That building like cool small projects is working, and we should find which projects could have like a good traction. So we will try different projects, and those projects which will give us good traction, we will like work on them.
And just one of the examples that 1inch was born at the ETH New York Hackathon, and the judges, none of the judges was able to recognize the potential of such a cool idea. So it just gives us an example that the current hackathon space, they are they cannot see all the like projects and recognize the value that they can bring to the market.
Yeah, this happens time to time. Yeah. So, but if you believe and you could see some traction that users start using your project, then I believe you could spend few months on it, and you will see how new users appears, even without having like a marketing budget, because we build 1inch without spending even a bucks for marketing. We just posted a lot of tweets for each feature. We just built the community behind the 1inch, and yeah, and delivered the product.
About the New York Hackathon, I guess it's my bad. Here's Sergey, the co-founder for Anton. I guess it was my bad that I really explained very bad and presented in a bad manner. So no one did really understood what I present there, except a few guys like Liam from ETH Global. Yeah, that's, I guess, my bad.
There is a question in the chat, like, Anton, could you point us to a few of your DeFi projects that you think we should look at?
Okay, first of all, you should try any lending platform if you did not try it before, like Compound, Aave, Fulcrum. You should just try to better understand how exactly it works. Maybe you should look also on Synthetics platform to see why it differs and what's special with it. I can point you, like give you a clue about this. You can swap any synth to any synth with zero slippage, but with like a fixed fee. I don't remember, maybe 0.3% or 0.2, but you will have a zero slippage on any amount, because they will burn your source synth asset and mint your destination synth asset by the current price from Oracle. Yeah, also maybe token sets. It's quite interesting. It is mentioned here. They do have some different strategies, and they have like USD Ether DAI token, which flips on like some RSI values, and it earns more than holding Ether. Maybe so it sometimes behave like this. This is not financial advice, but I mean, you have to check it to see how exactly it works. Maybe you like it. Which of these can be built on near, improved on, or better if built on near? As I said, near is a sharded blockchain of like a next generation of blockchains, and any of existing projects, not any, but most of the existing projects could be like moved, copied on near, but we still need to learn how to actually benefit from sharding on sharded blockchains, because as I said, having DAI token on near, which will have like several hundred transactions per second, is not enough to have like a global payment currency, because every teapot will send DAI in next 10 years, you know, and it's like we have to build sharded token and sharded DEXs and sharded projects. We have a couple of ideas about this, and yeah, maybe we will show it in the upcoming events.
Are there any other questions? If not, I guess we can start wrapping it up.
I have no questions.
Go for it.
Yeah.